Welcome back to Matao's Workbench Build Series. We are building a workbench, a jointer's workbench for woodworking, traditional woodworking, or even some power tools in the future, who knows. But we're building our workbench and we're building it in a really cool way. So we built our legs out of rough sawn cherry and we laminated it together into making half lap joints throughout our legs. And we built them together with this crisscross pattern at the bottom, and we have 4 arms coming up, or legs. I'm calling them arms, but we have these 4 arms coming up. And on the top, because of the way we laminated the 2 pieces together, it created a half lap on one side and a half lap on the other. So we're left with this 5-inch big gap. Now, I've been kind of making this up as I go along, and the original thought was, well, I would make that into a tenon and mortise and tenon through the workbench top.
Really?
I'm not that confident in that anymore. Plus the plan has changed a little bit where I've added the tool shelf, like a tool rest on the back of the bench. And I wouldn't be able to have any support coming off the back of that to hold that. So I've since changed the plan up a little bit. And I'm going to build stringers going across from leg to leg. So you'll see here that I've taken those and I've cut it down, and you'll see 2 distinct tenons sticking out of the top of these legs that I've cut from that. Now when we cut our half lap joint to do the cross in the bottom, we're a little bit off. So what that resulted in is the front legs are in 1 inch more than the back legs. I have this stringer that I'm going to run from leg to leg, and it's going to be made out of this 1 inch thick piece of 5.5 inch wide pine. I have to make this 90 degrees to the edge of my workbench top, and because the legs that we built are on an angle, which we don't know exactly what degree angle it is, it's just this angle, I had to figure out how to make this work. I put this board down on the bench top, 90'd it up, and then flipped the legs over and set them down. And I adjusted and moved and clamped and got things to the exact perfect position that I was comfortable with. And then went on the bottom and just scratched some lines with a pencil where these tenons were meeting the board. So after chopping all the mortises and some other stuff I'll show you in a second, I ended up with this. These are my mortises that I cut, and you'll see like this one is up a little bit higher than that one, but it's just what I could do to make sure I had enough material that I felt confident that this isn't gonna blow out or anything. It's going to mount like this. And the bottom here, you'll see I put in kind of a radius area. What this is gonna do is give area for a washer to hold inside here with a lag bolt to go through up into the bench top. We have a nice solid tight fit with our mortise and tenon joints here with our 3 bolts on top. So now this, you'll see this is sticking over a little bit. It's doing that on the other side too. I don't have a wide enough board to fit in there. I could have used cherry, but I didn't want to waste cherry on that. So let's get started. The long intro, wow. People aren't even gonna watch anything. I still have my bevel gauge set to that angle. And if I bring it up right to this edge here, and I'm gonna scribe a line all the way across. Now I'm not going very deep, going just deep enough. We're gonna plane all this out eventually. It really doesn't matter, it's gonna be underneath, but make it look good. Put the bevel gauge on the end here, pull it up to our line here, and then scribe a line across. So you guys can see that better. So this is gonna be our mortise that we cut out of our stringer board. Now we need to transfer it to the other side. I'm putting my bevel gauge back on and I'm pulling the line all the way to the end. So now I'm going to take my combination square, pull all those lines straight down from wherever they meet the end of the board. Now we've got it, all 6 lines are pulled. So now what we're doing is grabbing our bevel again, our bevel gauge, bring it up to the line here and make sure that it's connecting to the line over there. And once you've confirmed that, then we're gonna pull that line across. We're gonna do the same on this one, and that is my waist for that. So now I'm just gonna mark this with my marking knife, mark all that out, and then we're gonna chop this out, going halfway down from one side, flipping over, going halfway down the other, meeting in the middle. All right, we've got it all marked out or knifed out on both sides. So now you can do a 1-inch chisel if you want to. I haven't had any problems with it so far, but if you find yourself working too hard to push, you could switch to like a 3/4 inch chisel or even a 1/2 inch chisel if you want to. It just might take longer. Make that knife fall a little bit deeper and then come in with my chisel and kind of pare down to that line. I want to do this to make that knife fall a little bit more supported so that I can start chopping with a little more aggression. Basically what I'm going to do is keep chiseling this and coming in until I meet into like almost a point in the middle. So you can see we're not quite halfway down yet, but we're almost there. So it kind of makes this elongated pyramid, right? This is a little bit different than like the Paul Sellers way of chopping a mortise, where you would go in like this way and then travel the distance, just chopping deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to the end. The reason I didn't do that this time is I have a 1-inch chisel or a 2-inch chisel. And you can see the 1-inch is not going to fit. We're like 1.25 inches for our mortise, and that's because we wanted to have 2.5-inch thick legs. So I guess I could chop this down and then just start paring away at the wall if you want to go that route. But when I have an odd shaped mortise like this, I tend to chop this way. So I'll do the walls straight down and then go in it like this with the angles. It takes probably a little bit longer than doing it that other traditional way, but I really like the walls are nice and clean. It fits out really nicely. You just got to make sure that you're chopping square, and it works pretty easy actually. I'm about halfway down on this side and halfway down on this side. I'm just about breaking through here, so I'm gonna figured I would show that on camera, hopefully. Like that. Some of them are still held on. There it goes. So you break out the chunks, and your mortise is almost done. A little bit here to chop off. And there's our mortise, ready to go. Looks good. Gonna do this on the other side now. Same thing, same process. It's mainly just trying to center it the best I can, knowing that this line here is my absolute end of the board. So I'll go from the end of the board over 3 inches, probably somewhere around here, and that'll be my mortise. So I've got 2 mortises cut. So I've got a long side and a short side of this board, of the stringer. And it's gonna go on like this. The long side is meant to hold the tool rest, right? So it needs a little more space. And then the short side here and the bulk of this is gonna hold the actual bench top. So I've lined this side up first and marked where I want to cut my tenon. But I don't want to cut all this all the way down. I don't need it to go through the thickness of this. So I'm just taking this board, setting it down here on this bottom here, and pulling a line across. And then I can take my combination square and go around and mark it all the way around. Bring my tenon all the way down because I'm going to cut this top off, so that wouldn't be good. Okay, so I'm going to cut fat of the line for sure. I'm going to do that because I want to pare this down to fit my mortise perfectly. So I'd rather be a little bit long and then come into it. So I'm going to start with my shoulder lines first. Now you can rip saw this down, or if you're fairly confident in your grain, you can just chop it with a chisel. In my case, I'll go like halfway because I don't know which way the grain's running, and you just pop it. So it is going in a little bit, so I just got to be cautious. A little closer. Make sure we're getting a little close to our line now. A little more love taps than anything. Do the same on the other side. We've got our piece on now, both tenons sticking through. I had to do a little bit of paring here and there to get it down, but we are down all the way. I'm gonna take a flush cut saw now and saw these protruding tenons flush, and then I'll come through with a plane and smooth them out a little bit more. We've got our mortises cut, but now I need to do that groove in the middle to put our bolts through. I found center between the furthest points here, which was right here. Don't worry about this guy. So it was right here is center. Then I went three, what did I go? 3.5, 3.5, maybe. Yep. I went 3.5 on center to there and 3.5 inches on center to here. I'm gonna drill 2 pilot holes at 28 millimeter diameter with a Forstner bit about a 1/2 inch deep here. Take a flat edge, ruler, something like that, flat piece of wood, connect our center points of the circles on the top and the bottom. Now we got to chisel all this out. We've got our mortise kind of chopped down. We've kind of made our triangle or pyramid inside, right? But we're not busting all the way through, so we're not coming through the other side. So what I'm going to do now is come in with my chisel. I'm going to flip my bevel upside down, and I'm going to chip off the majority of this, then come through with a router plane and smooth it out. All right, now I've got to put the holes through to put my bolts through. So I've already got center marked there, and my center line is right there. So I can just kind of eyeball this one to be dead center. And just gonna switch over now to, what is this, a 12 mil? 12 mil Forstner bit, and drill the hole through. I'm going to go almost all the way through till the point starts sticking out the other side, and then come back yet from that side. Like that. So you can see the point there just starting to poke through. So then I'll flip it around, put the point of the Forstner bit there, and drill through. That way you don't get any tear out on this side or that side. Nice and clean. Do that on the other two. All right, the only thing left we want to do now is put a chamfer around the bottom of all this. So I'm going to go around with my marking gauge. I've got it set to 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to mark all the sides and then the top, just reference lines. I'm going to come through my hand plane and plane it all down to that mark. So you want to start with your end grain first because the odds of you blowing a side out is higher. And if you start with your end grain there and you do have a little tear out, when you do the long grain, it will fix it, hopefully, as long as you don't rip a huge chunk out. We've got both of our pieces done now for the stringers to go across the legs to mount the bench to. In the next video, we are going to mount the bench top to the legs and then start figuring out how we're going to do the front and the back boards, get those glued on to at least the bench front. I've got to figure out still how I'm going to mount the back two boards on the other side of the tool well. I've got some ideas, but none of them are good. Remember in the beginning of this series when I said, I'm going to make a mistake eventually. It'll come somewhere down the line or whatever. Do you see what I did yet? Do you see the problem? I was rushing at the end of the day to try to get this video done and got the mortises chopped. Everything's good. Perfect distance, perfect length. But I did all the work to mount the screws, to bury the screws in and everything else backwards, upside down. Should have done it to the bottom side, like this one. So, what do? Don't know. I have to either do it all over again or do chamfer this side. If you like this type of content, subscribe down below. If you're liking this series, let me know in the comments down below or by giving me a thumbs up on this video. I do appreciate every single one of those a lot more than you think. It really helps the channel out. It doesn't cost you anything. So subscribe down below, do all the stuff. I will see you on the next one.